Today we're talking about why the INFJ ages in reverse. You've heard this and read this probably many times that INFJs are old souls, and if you're an INFJ, that's probably how you felt your entire life, right? It has always been this thing that people around you seem to be playing around and trying out things, and you know already this isn't going to be helpful. There are so many mistakes INFJs avoid or are kept from doing because we already know this isn't going to make us happy, isn't going to fulfill us. We don't really aim for things that aren't going to give us, a long-term satisfaction, so to say. So that all together contributes to INFJs having this reputation of being old souls. But what does that mean when we chronologically age? Does that mean we age in years and we also stay old souls at the same time? That's not really the case. INFJs actually get to be more playful the older they get. INFJs get to experience more. It seems like we're kicking something into gear that we have missed all those years, because now we get to a place that we say, okay, this isn't just about knowledge. This is about the joy of experience. And it does take some time to get there, but once we understand why this is happening, we actually can tap into it no matter what our age is. And the sooner we do this, the faster we will actually get to a place where we feel like we're children at heart, where we actually get to be joyful, happy, experiencing things, and it doesn't feel like the world is such a burden to us. Because think about it, being an old soul, feeling like an old soul also comes with a heaviness, and that is not something we always feel like is a good thing, right? Before we get into this, remember to download the poster to the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life so you can start your transformational journey today. And if you want to take it to the next step and you say, I'm ready to change my life, I want your help, then work with me one-on-one. All the information you find in the links in the description. The reason the INFJ ages in reverse is actually our functional stack. So if you look at our functional stack, it's introverted intuition, extroverted feeling, introverted thinking, and extroverted sensing. And with age, with time, we get better at each one of those functions, but we actually get better at the last ones. What I mean by this is our first functions develop early. So let's say we all have a capacity of 100% to, embody a function or to really master a function. The first functions in particular, introverted intuition, extroverted feeling, they grow really rapidly in the beginning. So probably by the time we're teenagers or in our early 20s, we have probably gathered and improved our intuition to, let's say, 90% of our capabilities, right? With extroverted feeling, let's say 75. I'm just spitting out numbers here, but you know what I'm getting at. Introverted thinking, maybe 65, and then extroverted sensing, let's say 40. The older we get, the more improvement we can make in those functions that haven't developed completely. That's why you see other types, like let's say the ESTP, with time, they actually become more introverted. They become more reflective. They understand how important it is to sort of have a long-term vision and go towards it, right? It's completely normal. And the thing is this, in order to have a balanced life, in order to feel complete, we need both of those things. We need the entire spectrum, because as a young INFJ, most of us might have thought, oh, I already know how the world works. I have actually improved my introvert intuition. It's already at such a great capacity, how much more am I able to learn here? But the point is that in order to use our introvert intuition correctly, we have to have the right information. Right? Introverted intuition is all about creating a pattern or building up a pattern, and then with the help of our introverted thinking to sort of create order to it. But if you only have a handful of information, if you only have a handful of experience, guess what? Your end result of the way the world could work or the world works is still limited. That's why we tend to have some unrealistic expectations when we're younger. So many of us have been infatuated with people, with ideas, with some kind of scenarios that felt like completely plausible to us because we had information A, B, C, D. And with that information, guess what? It made all sense. And then you have somebody else who's gone through the world and they have experienced much more than we had. They have tried out things that we felt like, oh, I don't need to try out that. I already know it's not good for me to go down that direction or down that rabbit hole. And in a lot of cases, that's true. But still, that person has a lot more information. As much as you rely on your intuition and as much as we rely on our introverted thinking, we have to be aware that first off, yes, we will make some mistakes when it comes to interpretation. I know I've done them. We all have to admit to ourselves, nobody of us is perfect, and with time, we get better at this. And second of all, information is king. So what we need is actually both of those things. So we need experience, so more and more information, and then create a pattern that is more in tune with how the world really works for our sake, right? It's not like that's the way the world works and there's this one definite thing. We just figure out a way of looking at the world that makes sense to us, that allows us to actually tap into it, to grow into it, to experience it, to be full of joy, to create that INFJ epic life, how I always love to call it. Another person who's all about experience, they also need to work on their intuition. They need to understand that they don't have to do all the things. Sometimes it's enough to do a couple of things because that already gives you enough information to make the right choices and then spend your time efficiently. So how does that come back to INFJs aging in reverse? With time, we do get better at extroverted sensing. And extroverted sensing is not just like working out or, physical activities or cooking or whatever you might read somewhere. Extroverted sensing, particularly for INFJs, is about experiencing. And it's about experiencing something, making it happen in the real world, and actually feeling it. Because we've all experienced this. There's a friend who's all about their senses, and we're not. Those are some typical experiences INFJs have, particularly in their younger ages. So we go through the same situations, we're in the same circumstances, but we don't feel anything. We feel like, why should I do this? This doesn't give me any kick. It doesn't make me feel anything. I don't really get to experience anything from that. And on top of that, I feel like I'm not getting anything new out of it. I already know this isn't for me. And so we sort of get stuck in this loop of, this is not the direction for me to go. I know this isn't going to make me happy, but I don't know the alternative. So what do INFJs do? They stay in their head, they daydream. Sometimes a lot of heaviness comes from that, from continuously going over the same information that you have because it doesn't allow you to grow. No matter how great your intuition is or your introverted thinking, with just a finite amount of information, you're still going to stay in the same box, in the same room. What we want is to expand. So with time, it becomes easier and easier to tap into SE. And with SE, you actually get a grasp of reality. You make things happen and you don't do it because you feel like, oh, I already know this isn't going to help me, but because I know I don't know everything. So I have to experience something new. I have to take on a new challenge, even if I feel this isn't like my main goal or the end result that I want. But through that experience, I will gather something. I will gather new information that will show me the next step. The metaphor I like using here the most is climbing up a mountain. Even if you know that this isn't the mountain that is going to be your end result or where you want to get to, every single time you climb a mountain, you have a better view. You have a better perspective. You know what the next step is going to be. And so many INFJs don't want to go down like a certain road or a certain mountain because they know this isn't for me. A typical thing is INFJs being in a job that doesn't make them happy. They're maybe bored. They feel like, oh, okay, I've grown here as much as I possibly can. But what is the alternative? I have to take on a job that will require me to work more. I will be surrounded by people who are all about like money and things that I don't care about, and so they get stuck, or they feel like, oh, if I'm going that direction, I'm going to be surrounded by negative people. But the truth is, you don't know that for sure. Even if you're 98% sure about something, there's still going to be something new that you learn from that. It might be information, it might be energy. Things will shift if you put yourself in the new perspective. But if you stay in the old one, you already lost. There's nothing that can come from this, and we need to change things. And on the one hand, as INFJs, even without us trying, we get a sense of the experience more and more. So it's easier for, let's say, a 50-year-old INFJ to tap into something than the same INFJ 20 years ago, right? But just because something becomes easier with age, it doesn't mean that we can't even make it better or sooner or more effective if we don't do it like now, if we don't hone into it. And that's why I always encourage you, go about your life, take steps. That's what the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life are, for example, all about. They're about taking some action that will make you feel something after you take that action. And so either naturally through the course of our life, we find this truth, or you can even accelerate it at any age that you're at by actively taking those steps. You get to put more experience into your life. And this experience teaches us 2 things. First off, it helps us to grow. There is no such thing as, oh, my life is this and it's never going to get better. The only way I can, escape this is by daydream. No, we actually see that there is a strong correlation with our happiness and taking active action. Doing something that gives us new information. With that new information, we can create a new pattern, we can create a new vision for ourselves, and then we take continuous action. This dynamic is incredibly fulfilling. It's the thing that makes us feel like children again, where the life is just full of things we get to experience. It's full of curiosity. And that's why people say INFJs, when they get older, they become more like children. We actually get a sense of life more and more. And we can even tap into this at any age that we're at. We can make this go faster. We can experience life to this extent, because once you get this whole spectrum of intuition and action and how they all play together, it all makes sense. And this isn't just something INFJs experience, right? I always like to use the example of ESTPs because they have the same functions, just in reverse. With time or with active practice of tapping into their intuition, they also get a sense of, oh, okay, I don't need to extend all my energy into those 50 million things around me. I use my intuition, know that it's enough to just look at, 30% of what I used to look at. And because of that, I get to push my energy more straightforward. I get to make something happen faster and more effectively, right? So having this entire balance is what makes us feel so complete. It's what makes us feel carefree. It's the thing that makes you feel your energy is overflowing, right? Your cup of energy is overflowing. That's what makes us feel like children. And that's why so often you hear that young INFJs are an old soul. And with time, it actually feels like we're becoming lighter. You can accelerate this. Don't forget this. Use this, start this, no matter what chronological age you're currently at. It's an exciting process, and I'm so happy that I got to tap into it and that I, push this and advertise this, because it's just an amazing feeling. And for the longest time, I never thought this was going to be possible for me. So I really believe you can experience all of this as well. Remember, if you want some inspiration, if you want to have some hands-on help to get you to that place, then download the 5 pillars to an INFJ epic life. The poster shows you what areas in your life to focus on, where to take some steps. And remember, the steps come first. You do that out of a rational thought, and then you start creating emotional attachments to that. And that's when the real fun begins. And if you say, okay, I'm really ready to take this all the way, then work with me 101. All the information you find in links in the description. And if you want to watch another video now that is in alignment with today's topic, then watch the video How the INFJ Taps into Beast Mode in 2022.